If you're thinking about switching to Linux, stop for a second. I know, you've probably heard all the hype. It's free, it's open source, it's more secure, it's what hackers use, it's faster, it will revive your old laptop. And while some of that is technically true, what people don't tell you is the other side of the story. The part where things don't work, the part where you spend hours on forums, the part where you copy-paste commands you don't understand, the part where you realize that maybe, just maybe, Linux isn't the magical upgrade you were promised. So before you wipe your drive and say goodbye to Windows or macOS forever, let's talk about why you probably shouldn't switch to Linux, at least not yet. First, let's talk about software compatibility. This is the biggest reason most people regret switching. On Windows, you download an app, double-click it, and it installs. On macOS, you drag it to Applications. Simple. On Linux, things are different. Yes, there are package managers. Yes, there are app stores depending on your distribution. But not every app you rely on exists for Linux. If you depend on Adobe Photoshop, Premiere Pro, After Effects, Microsoft Office with full compatibility, AutoCAD, or many industry-specific programs, you're going to hit a wall. There are alternatives, GIM instead of Photoshop, LibreOffice instead of Microsoft Office, but alternatives are not replacements. They don't behave the same. They don't always support the same file formats perfectly. And if you work professionally, almost compatible is not good enough. Gaming is another reality check. Yes, Linux gaming has improved massively thanks to Proton and Steam. Many Windows games run surprisingly well, but not all of them. Anti-cheat systems are still a problem. Some multiplayer titles simply won't launch. Some games require tweaking launch options. Others need specific drivers. And sometimes, after an update, something that worked yesterday just breaks. If you're a casual gamer who only plays a few supported titles, you might be fine. But if you want guaranteed compatibility with every major AAA release, Windows is still the safest bet. When you just want to play and not troubleshoot, Linux can feel like a project rather than a platform. Now let's talk about hardware support. In theory, Linux supports a huge range of hardware. In practice, it depends. That Wi-Fi card in your laptop, it might require proprietary drivers. Your printer, it might work, or it might require a workaround. That RGB controller for your keyboard, good luck. Some hardware manufacturers simply don't prioritize Linux drivers. On Windows, driver support is almost universal. On Linux, sometimes you're digging through forums to find a GitHub repository someone made in 2019 that may or may not work with your kernel version. If you enjoy tinkering, that's fine. If you just want your computer to function without detective work, it can be exhausting. Then there's the learning curve. People say Linux is easy now, and yes, distributions like Ubuntu, Linux Mint, and others have become much more user-friendly. But eventually, you will face the terminal. At some point, a tutorial will say, open a terminal and type this command. And if something goes wrong, you're staring at cryptic output that looks like another language. Linux gives you power, but with power comes responsibility. You are often closer to the system. That's great for learning. It's not so great when you just need to finish a task quickly and don't want to understand the inner workings of your operating system. Another thing nobody mentions enough is fragmentation. On Windows, there is one mainstream version. On macOS, it's controlled by Apple. On Linux, there are dozens, actually hundreds of distributions. Ubuntu, Fedora, Arch, Debian, Manjaro, Pop, _OS, Linux Mint, and many more. Each one has different package managers, different release cycles, different desktop environments, and sometimes different philosophies. That freedom is powerful, but it also creates confusion. Tutorials for one distro might not apply perfectly to another. Commands might vary. Package names might differ. As a beginner, you can feel overwhelmed just choosing where to start. Let's also address the myth that Linux is always faster. Yes, Linux can be lightweight. Yes, it can breathe new life into old hardware, but performance depends on configuration. Install a heavy desktop environment with a bunch of background services and it won't feel magically faster than Windows. And sometimes, due to driver optimizations, certain hardware actually performs better on Windows because manufacturers prioritize it. The idea that Linux automatically equals blazing speed is oversimplified. It can be optimized, but that requires effort and knowledge. Now consider professional environments. If you work in an office, your workflow might depend on Microsoft 365 Outlook with Exchange, Teams integration, or proprietary VPN software. While many tools have web versions, the experience isn't always identical. Sometimes features are missing, sometimes formatting changes, sometimes compatibility with colleagues becomes awkward. If everyone else uses Windows and you're the only one on Linux, you might spend extra time troubleshooting issues that nobody else has. Being different is cool until it slows down your productivity. Let's talk about support. When Windows breaks, you can call Microsoft support, visit countless mainstream guides, or take your laptop to almost any technician. With Linux, support is often community-based. That's not a bad thing. Linux communities are incredibly helpful, but it does mean you're relying on forums, Reddit threads, Stack Exchange answers, and documentation. Sometimes you'll find the solution instantly. Other times, you'll find 10 conflicting answers, each with slightly different commands, and you'll have to guess which one applies to your situation. That trial and error process isn't for everyone. There's also the psychological factor. Switching to Linux can feel empowering at first. You feel like you've escaped the mainstream. You feel technical. But over time, the constant small inconveniences can wear you down. A file format that doesn't open perfectly. A Bluetooth device that needs repairing after updates. A kernel upgrade that introduces a bug. None of these are catastrophic, but they accumulate. And for many users, convenience wins over ideology. Another issue is commercial ecosystem integration. Think about syncing your phone using certain cloud services, running niche software for hobbies like music production with specific VST plugins, or video editing with certain proprietary codecs. While Linux has great open source tools, the ecosystem of commercial software is still heavily Windows and macOS focused. If your workflow depends on paid software that doesn't officially support Linux, you'll be stuck with workarounds like Wine, virtual machines, or dual booting, which defeats the simplicity you were hoping for. Security is often cited as a major Linux advantage. And yes, Linux has strong security fundamentals. But security also depends on user behavior. If you copy commands blindly from random websites, add unknown repositories, or disable security measures for convenience, you can still compromise your system. No operating system is magically immune to user error. And ironically, because Linux users often feel more confident, they sometimes take risks without fully understanding them. Then there's updates. On rolling release distributions, updates are constant. That sounds great, always having the latest software. But sometimes those updates introduce breaking changes. On stable distributions, you get fewer updates but older software versions. You have to choose between stability and cutting edge. Windows and macOS also have updates, but their ecosystems are more centralized and tested for mass audiences. On Linux, especially with niche hardware setups, you might be the one discovering the bug. Let's not forget about time. Switching to Linux isn't just installing a new OS. It's learning new shortcuts, new file structures, new configuration systems. It's finding replacement software. It's customizing the desktop to your liking. For enthusiasts, that's fun. For busy students, professionals, or casual users, that's time that could be spent elsewhere. If your current system works fine, ask yourself, are you solving a real problem or just chasing curiosity? Another important factor is expectations. Many people switch to Linux expecting perfection. When they encounter friction, they feel disappointed. But Linux isn't designed to be a polished consumer appliance first. It's a powerful, flexible system shaped by developers and communities. That difference in philosophy matters. If you expect everything to be plugged and play like a smartphone, you may feel frustrated. There's also the reality of resale and shared environments. If you plan to sell your laptop later, most buyers expect Windows or macOS. If you share your computer with family members who aren't tech-savvy, Linux might confuse them. The unfamiliar interface, different application names, and occasional need for troubleshooting can create friction in a household environment. And here's a controversial one. Not everyone needs control over every aspect of their system. Linux gives you deep control. You can customize almost anything. But with that control comes complexity. Many people are perfectly happy with a closed, managed ecosystem because it reduces decisions. There's value in simplicity. There's value in consistency. Linux sometimes prioritizes flexibility over simplicity. Now, none of this means Linux is bad. It's incredible for servers. It's dominant in supercomputers. It's powerful for development. It's amazing for privacy-focused users who are willing to configure their systems carefully. But that doesn't automatically make it the best choice for every desktop user. Context matters. If you're a student who needs specific Windows-only software for your course, switching could create unnecessary stress. If you're a gamer who wants zero hassle with new releases, you might miss the seamless compatibility. If you're a content creator reliant on industry-standard tools, you might feel limited. If you're someone who doesn't enjoy troubleshooting, Linux could feel like a chore. The internet often portrays switching to Linux as a rebellious upgrade, like escaping a corporate prison. But in reality, operating systems are tools. The best tool is the one that helps you accomplish your goals with the least friction. For many people, that still happens to be Windows or macOS. So before you switch, ask yourself some honest questions. Are you prepared to troubleshoot? Are you okay with potential software limitations? Are you comfortable learning new workflows? Are you switching because you need to, or because it sounds cool? There's nothing wrong with experimenting. You can always dual boot or use a virtual machine to try Linux safely. But wiping your main system impulsively can lead to regret. Linux is powerful. Linux is flexible. Linux is respected. But Linux is not automatically better for everyone. And pretending that it is sets unrealistic expectations. If your current system works, supports your software, runs your games, and fits your workflow, you might not gain much by switching, and you could lose convenience. In the end, the decision should be based on your needs, not hype. Technology choices are personal. What works brilliantly for a developer might frustrate a designer. What feels liberating to an enthusiast might feel overwhelming to a beginner. Switching to Linux can be a rewarding journey, but only if you understand what you're stepping into. So why shouldn't you switch to Linux? Because it's not a magic fix, because compatibility matters, because convenience matters, because your time matters, and because sometimes sticking with what works is smarter than chasing what sounds better. Think carefully, experiment safely, and choose the system that serves you,